something just happened that's sort of funny, actually. Um, I took Southwest Airlines from BWI and landed in Columbus. The same time our plane landed, the private jet of McCain landed and the private jet of Palin landed because they're campaigning together here in Ohio. And the pilot of the Southwest Airlines plane told me after the plane landed and we were at the airport, he said, you know, McCain was in a 737, which is more efficient than Obama's 757, but you were the most fuel efficient because you were one of 120 passengers on Southwest Airlines. Unfortunately, these are not the type of stories that make national TV because my name is not Joe the Plumber. Another point I want to make is we just won a great court case here in Ohio yesterday. At 10 a.m., the Sixth Circuit Federal Court of Appeals ruled unanimously that Secretary of State Blackwell in 2004 was using two provisions of the Ohio election laws to get us off the ballot. One required that our petitioners be registered voters in Ohio, and the second required that our petitioners gathering signatures be residents of Ohio. The Circuit Court of Appeals ruled both provisions of the Ohio election laws unconstitutional. So that means they're unconstitutional for all third-party and independent candidates who want to get on the Ohio ballot. And that's part of the purpose of our campaign, is to advance the civil liberties of candidates to get on the ballot, without which voter rights aren't worth as much if they don't have adequate choices. And in over 90% of the House of Representative districts in our country, there's really only one candidate, the incumbent, by the dominant party that gerrymandered the district to make sure that either the Democrat or the Republicans were totally dominant. In those districts, voters don't even have two choices. It's a one-party district. We have a word for a one-party domination in countries overseas, don't we? We call them dictatorships. When you don't have at least two viable choices to vote for, that means there's no election. An election implies a contest. Instead of an election, there's a coronation. I have long supported nonpartisan commissions drawing electoral districts. In Western Europe and Canada, they're astonished how we allow partisan Republican-dominated state governments or partisan Democratic Party-dominated state governments to draw electoral districts, to enforce the election laws, to count the votes. They're just astonished that we allow that. Well, people in Florida aren't astonished in 2000. People in Ohio in 2004, they're not astonished. The partisan Secretary of State Blackwell distributed the voting machines in ways that biased their numbers against Democrat precincts and allowed adequate number of voting machines in Republican precincts. So there are short lines for Republican precincts, long lines for Democratic precincts, during which people peeled off. They have to pick up the kids. They got to go to work. It's to the everlasting shame of John Kerry that he conceded so early, the morning after Election Day, and didn't demand an investigation, which his running mate, John Edwards, was vigorously trying to persuade him to do.